Look, we got football to get into here, but we got to get into some of these movie quotes with Jordan Pugh, who keeps it real here on Texas Aggies Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Jordan, I don't know if you're listening to the last segment, but Justin over here had some of the things that happened in 1994, the last time Texas A&M was 7-0 to start a season. Okay. And the movie was Forrest Gump that came out, and he said that would you call it the most quotable movie of that century, right?
That's what Nick said. I said the quote is the quote of the century, though.
Okay, quote of the century, right? And I was like, come on, man, The Godfather had more than Forrest Gump. And I've Googled, and according to IMDb, Godfather didn't make the list, but I'm going to make it an offer you can't refuse. To me, is the most quotable. But
yeah, I know that one. Yep.
All right, well, for you, most quotable lines from a movie.
So man, you put me on the spot, man.
According to IMDb, hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepared to die, from The Princess Bride. Have you seen that?
Yes, of
All
course.
Right.
I have never seen that, so I have no idea. No.
Okay. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Bueller, number 3.
Yep. Okay, yep. I've seen that, yep.
Forrest Gump makes the list. Pirates of the Caribbean, Back to the Future. I don't know, Back to the Future.
Nothing from The Lion King? See, 1994, see, what is that? I'm 6 years old in 94. Nothing from The Lion King? Toy Story?
This is of all time, so...
okay, all time. Gotcha. Okay, I thought you were talking about
of all time.
The year. Okay.
But, I don't know. Take the cannoli from Godfather, like... Anyway, let's
yeah, I know that one. Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, like that. Let's get to some football, man.
Let's do it.
I know you're gonna have I don't know where you're gonna go with this, because sometimes you surprise me on how you see things. Let's first start off with 7-0.
Okay, let's do it. 7-0, great, right? It's what we expected coming off or going into the game. We knew that we were the better team. We knew that we can win in multiple facets, and we showed that again this past week, right? Being 7-0 is big. It's something to celebrate. It's something to be excited about. But also, the thing I love about Elko is understanding and shifting the mindset. Like, look, that's nice, but we still have not accomplished what we want to accomplish yet. And so, I'm glad that the fan base is excited. I'm glad that the fan base is happy. But, man, we're still on a mission. Because when you look at it, what is it, 5 more games within the regular season? It's a long way to go, especially with these road wins. Looking into the game, it's kind of what I expected. I knew that we would do well offensively. Defense kind of made me a little nervous because we knew that there was a mobile quarterback. You had Bobby Petrino making the play calls, and you saw that play out a little bit. Defensively, man, we kind of peeked our head to what we did earlier in the year. We gave up a lot of perimeter runs. We had some violations with our eyes within the game. And I think where you saw the momentum swing was when they scored right before halftime. Mm-hmm. When it happened, I was like, man, I almost texted you. I was this close. I was like, don't do it. I was like, leave him alone. He's working. And I said, man, we're in trouble. Because that gave them life, that gave them hope. And you saw the energy change, right? Mm-hmm. But I thought that we handled the storm. We weathered the storm. The offense did what they were supposed to do. Man, we could score in so many ways. It's crazy. And I'm going to stay on this. We go as far as Marcel takes us because we have everything that we need in order to be an explosive offense. But the way that we can run the football, the way that we have the pass catchers with Bethel Roman stepping up within the game, right? Just seeing what we can do there, man. And then defense did what it had to do when it was a must stop. So I thought that was really good. I still love the way that we can win in multiple facets. We can win when we're having down days, but we have got to make sure we stay on our P's and Q's defensively. I think this week is going to be the inverse. I think this week we're going to shine defensively. I think LSU's offense is explosive. I am not a Garrett Nussmeier fan. I think he's a sitting duck in that pocket with our pass rush. I think our defense will be a lot better. Offensively is where I'm like, okay, it's going to be a matchup problem because defensively, LSU can match up with us. They can go blow for blow on the outside with our receivers. Their front can hang with our front. So I think that's where the matchup is going to be this week. So I think it's going to be flipped. And then we're going into Death Valley, right? So, look, I'm excited about 7-0. I think it's big. I think, man, the trajectory of this team, I think we are championship caliber because of what we can do, how we can win, the multiple facets that we can play. Now, man, it's just staying consistent and understanding the task, time on task, and being able to handle all the adverse situations we're about to face.
Talking to Jordan Pugh on the Bumpy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Justin, there was a question that I answered at 9:50 about, if you can find it, about the defense, the tackling issues that we saw. If you can ask that same question to Jordan Pugh so we can get his thoughts, because I just gave a couple thoughts, but he played defense in the NFL. So what do you have it?
Yeah, I do. All right, so essentially what it was, Jordan, is
Okay.
I'll just read it out again. It said, man, the missed tackles this past weekend gave me PTSD from last year. How do we make sure to stop Little Garrett Nussmeier, who wants revenge since we embarrassed him last year in Kyle?
Remember, that's what we talked about last week. I said, remember, we went on the road against South Carolina, and it was eerily similar. Okay. But South Carolina had the mobile factor with Lenora Sellers. Same thing with Taylor Green, right? The biggest thing is this. I think the thing that we struggle with the most, when I bring up the mobile quarterback, I think that it makes us I think it throws our assignment off, or it slows us down. Whenever you got a mobile quarterback, that's another threat that you have to add defensively, right? So you're taking a guy out of the box, you're adding a guy into the box, you're adding a potential spy. So it's taking somebody out of the run fit, right? Because you have to account for a player who can utilize his legs, especially in the pass game. And sometimes I think that throws off angles and fits. Now, what I talked about last time is the defense has to be chaotic. You have to be able to create chaos offensively. But sometimes I think that throws us out of whack. The thing that I think that is different between last year and this year is the halftime adjustments that we make defensively, I think, are elite, especially what Elko was doing. And you see the improvements in that week by week. The biggest thing that we have to make sure we do is we have to be able to kill momentum. And when you go on the road, especially like we did in Arkansas, they scoring before halftime, momentum started to rise. You got to be able to kill that defensively. We did that offensively. We didn't do that defensively. When you look at LSU with Brian Kelly, I think is going to try to get the ball into his playmakers' hands immediately. I think you're going to see a lot of quick rhythm throws. You're going to see a lot of screen game to get the athletes the ball. And being able to tackle in space is going to be crucial for us. We did a very good job over the past 4 weeks of doing that up until last week, but we got to nip that off right now. So, yeah, I agree with that. I got a little PTSD too, but we came through. The resilience that we have, we fought through and we weathered that storm, but we got to be able to fix that. If we are championship worthy, we can't let that happen. We got to nip that in the bud right now.
Well, Jordan, the only 2 road games you have this year, you've given up over 40 points and 42 points, right? So the thing that I'm trying to justify in my head, and I think I know the answer, but I just worry about it. Does the A&M defense travel, or is it more of a product of these are some really good offenses that you're taking on that score? Arkansas has been doing that against everybody, and you've seen what Notre Dame's been able to do.
Yeah, it's been a product of really good offenses, right? And offenses that can beat you in multiple facets. So Notre Dame, they had guys everywhere. They had good receivers. Jeremiah Love, I love Jeremiah Love. I think he's the best back in the country, hands down. But you're also looking at the X factor, which is the quarterback who can use his feet. So CJ Carr had that ability. We know Taylor Green's ability is 10 times of what CJ Carr is. And I think that's what's throwing the wrench within the defense, because it doesn't allow you to be as aggressive as you want to be. You have to have your rush lanes. You almost have to 2-gap defensively in order to make sure that you account for that quarterback. I think this week is going to be the opposite. I think with Garrett Nussmeier, you know who he is. You know he's more of a pocket passer. You know that we can be more aggressive. We can fire off the line defensively. I think that's going to be big for us. Well, but man, traveling on that road, that's where your defense is got to be able to travel. And we haven't done a good job of that against good defenses, or our good teams, our good offenses. So I think, man, going into this week, the struggles that LSU has had on offense. I think that we can expose a lot of what they want to do offensively with our defense and what we do in our packages. But we got to be able to stifle momentum. That has got to be the core thing with us. And if you notice a pattern with our defense, a lot of teams want to spread us out. Okay. Empty the box and allow a lot more movement, a lot more line play inside the box with an emptier head count. So I think you're going to see a lot of that with LSU, but we got to be able to stifle that momentum early in the game.
Am I unfair to this program when I say out loud, got to find a way to win 3? Got to find a way to win 3 out of the next 5? Because, and I'll throw you a couple of reasons. A, let's let this season play out and enjoy the journey. There's that. Yeah. Maybe they're better than 3 out of 5, right? Or, also does 10 guarantee you a playoff spot if there's 4 or 5 teams that are 10-2? I don't know. I think it would. So but you see what I'm doing? I'm doing the math. All right, you got to win at LSU or Missouri, and then you got to take care of business at home, and you're in the playoffs, which is a talking point. But I don't know. I don't want my team thinking that way.
Your team has to be week by week. The SEC is the most difficult conference because anybody can win on any given Saturday. That's the scary part. When you go into these games on Saturdays, you know there's the risk of losing, right? A legitimate risk in losing because everybody can match up player for player. I think, like you said, man, enjoy the journey, but I think this team is built a little bit different. They remind me a lot of Georgia. When you watch Georgia play, you see teams that are better than Georgia. You see teams that make more plays than Georgia, but for some reason, in some way, they find a way to win. They have to be the most resilient team in college football. They just keep knocking the door down. And I'm seeing resemblance of that in us. I see a team that is resilient. I see a team that is more and more of a blue collar stature. And they just keep knocking at the wall until they eventually break you. And that's the thing that is exciting to see with this football team. We've been able to carry this thing on the road. We've been able to do it at home. But now the attrition factor kicks in. The guys in the depth kicks in at this point now. So when we talk about the culture standpoint, it's not necessarily those starters. It's those guys who are the backups or replacements. Do the things fall off when guys have to step in crucial situations? And you are seeing our backups, our second team, guys step up each and every single week. That's where I think we're different. So, man, look, enjoy the journey. Enjoy everything that we've done. 7-0 is nice, but 7-0 means absolutely nothing with what we're trying to accomplish. And I think that we have the bones and the foundation to continue to move forward. We can win all these games, but now it comes down to focus. Focus is what we need to have.
Talking to Jordan Pugh on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. All right, let's talk Marcel's development because one of the things that Shireen Williams said at the beginning of the show was where she has seen development is that maybe in the Notre Dame game, he didn't survey the field the way he's doing now. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, he played his most complete game against Arkansas. I thought that's the best that he's looked. You saw a guy that was poised in the pocket. He delivered the ball. He was the point guard distributing the ball. You saw him make the necessary plays with his feet when it was time to, right? He didn't panic. He didn't rush it. I thought that his progression as a quarterback overall, I thought that was the best that it's been all year long. And you saw him take control of the offense, run the offense, make checks when he needed to. But most importantly, going from his first to his second to his third option, that was big. That's how you win football games. And then the X factor with his feet, we had the long run that was taken off on that holding penalty, which the penalties, we got to get that short up because that's going to bite you in the butt at some point. But, man, his progression has been good from week 1 all the way to week 7. You've seen a guy mature. But I think the Notre Dame game is when you really started to see the switch flip because you saw a guy in a big moment on a big stage with a national brand lead his team down for a win, which he's done before in the past. But the poise factor, the pocket presence, his read progressions have changed since that game. And that's where you've seen the progression. So I'm excited about what he's doing. And I think, like I told you before, man, we go as far as Marcel takes us.
All right, I got to jump in on the penalties thing because they've gotten better, man. I think, was it 3 2 weeks ago and 7 this past week? So, like, it's not perfect, but, man, it ain't double digits. You know what I'm saying? So, like, there has been growth. And I thought that Marcel play was a bogus call.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was terrible. that was terrible, but you've just seen the trend. For whatever reason, every team has some type of Achilles heel every year, whatever that may be. So, like in the past, it's been QB injuries for us, right? Whatever that may be. This year, it just so happens to be penalties. For whatever reason, we get penalties at the most unopportune times. But there's really no solve for that. That's the problem. That's the frustrating part. The players just have to be more sound with that. But the reason why I keep harping on that is because there is going to come a point in a game where it is going to be a factor. And if we continue to let it pass by, it's going to bite us and you'll end up losing a game based off something that you could have controlled. And that's where I think the penalties are being harped on. I know Elko knows that. I know that's driving him crazy at night. He's up trying to figure out what do we need to do. But we've got to find a way to eliminate those because you don't want that to be the reason that you end up losing a game, losing a spot, losing a position based off of that.
Where can LSU beat A&M? Like, where does A&M have to be careful?
In the trenches defensively, that's where they can beat us. They can match us, their defensive front with our offensive line. That's where I think their strength is. Everybody talks about their secondary, but nobody talks about their front seven. Their front seven creates a lot of chaos in order to open up a lot of playmaking ability in the secondary. They're fast, they're strong, they're physical. They do a good job of running games and creating matchups, one-on-one matchups with their best players. I think that's going to be the key in this. But our X factor is Marcel because of the mobility factor. He can create plays, he can extend plays, and he can make plays with his feet. But I'm really intrigued by that front seven matchup, including including the linebackers in that. I think with the Weeks brothers as well. That's going to be the key. Can we run against that front? Can we manipulate the front? Can we create a clean pocket? And what is Klein going to do to dial up misdirections, use their speed and their aggressiveness to their disadvantage? That's going to be interesting for me. I think that's going to be the key matchup moving forward this week.
Jordan, just give me 2 or 3 things that you need to see A&M do. So we've talked about it from an LSU perspective, but let's talk about it from an A&M perspective. What are 2 or 3 things that they have to do in Baton Rouge to get that 8th victory of the year?
Number 1, tackle in space. Tackle in space. LSU has phenomenal skill players on the outside. They're going to get the ball to them. Tackle in space, because that's what I believe LSU is going to come out and do. All right, based off the film. Number 2, they got to be able to establish the run. Like, you hear that all the time, but that's going to be crucial. I think that LSU believes that they can take away our guys on the outside, meaning they're going to load the box. We have to be able to run with that loaded box. The third thing is special teams. I think special teams is going to be a factor. I think that we have the ability to score at any point in time on special teams, but I also believe that LSU has the ability to score at any point in time on special teams as well. I think that's going to be a hidden factor within that game, is how do we control that? So if we control those 3 things, I think that we can handle it, and then we have a hard-fought victory down there in Baton Rouge. But those 3 things have got to be crucial on the must-haves this week.
That is the great Jordan Pugh here on the Bumpy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Jordan, appreciate you. We'll talk to you next week, man.
All right, let's do it, man.
Let's do it.
And I'm going to try not to text you this week.
You can text me.
I've been doing good the past couple of weeks, man. But I want to. I want to let my frustrations out.
Buddy.
I'm doing better.
Hey,
I'm in rehab right now.
This is just you and I talking. Nobody's listening. Sometimes when you text me information, I use it as my own. It's the best. It makes me sound super smart. So go ahead.
Okay, well, now that I have the leeway to do that, hey, man, I might fire away. Just excuse any of the explicit language if anything goes wrong.
You got it.
I don't mean it. It's my other brain talk.
Hey, I feel that if you cuss in Spanish, it doesn't count. So, feel free to use any word in Spanish.
There we go. I'll just put the translator on.
There you go.
Put the Google translator on and go from there.
We'll talk to you soon, bro. See ya.